Unity is a movement founded on prayer. Hopefully that is not news to anyone. When Myrtle Fillmore was attending a lecture, she heard the affirmation, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness." Now she took this affirmation into her daily prayer, and she healed herself from tuberculosis. Now her husband Charles saw what was happening and started his own study in affirmative prayer. Friends began to come to the Fillmores for prayer, and as word spread of their healing, Unity was born. They founded the Society for Silent Help, which later became Silent Unity, the 24/7 prayer ministry of Unity. Now, affirmative prayer is the foundation of all that we do in Unity. But what is affirmative prayer, and what does prayer do? Charles Fillmore, in Jesus Christ Heals, wrote, "Prayer is both invocation and affirmation. Meditation, concentration, denial, and affirmation in silence are all forms of what is loosely termed as prayer." So first let's look at what prayer is not. Sometimes it helps us figure out what it is, right? In the foreword to Teach Us to Pray, co-authored by Charles and his second wife, Cora, they said, "The prayer is not begging or supplication." And I quote, "A prayer without desire in it, a prayer without soul in it, a prayer without spirit is a fruitless prayer." And in Christian Healing, Charles Fillmore said, "To pray believing that the prayer may or may not be answered at the will of God is to miss the mark. If we pray thinking that we do not deserve the things which we ask, these untrue and undefinite thoughts carry themselves out, and we grow to look upon prayer with doubt and suspicion." You know, the kind of the wishy-washy, well, I want this to happen, but I don't really think it's going to prayer. You've probably all heard somebody do that prayer, maybe not yourself, but. So prayer is not begging, but a clear stating of the desires of our heart with passion. Now, some people have been brought up to think that they are unworthy of having their needs met in abundance. Or maybe we think we've made mistakes, or we're not good enough. But it ain't so. So there. May Rowland, who's one of my favorite Unity writers and longtime director of Silent Unity, she wrote, "Never think of yourself as unworthy. You are a beloved child of God, and you can be forgiven, cleansed, and healed through God's indwelling spirit, the Christ Spirit." Never think of yourself as unworthy. And knowing this and living this is the first step. But there's more, because just knowing this intellectually is not enough. We have to clean out the barriers of believing this at all levels. We have to create a fertile environment for our prayer to grow. So we have a little demonstration. My lovely assistant Kyah is going to help me. So this represents our minds. Okay, so what kind of things we might want to, we're gonna make affirmative prayers, right? We're gonna put stuff in there. Let's see, what do we have? We have health. That's a popular one. So would you like to put health in your mind?
Yeah. Doesn't fit.
It doesn't. Why doesn't it fit? Oh, there's stuff. What do we need? Oh, belief in sickness. It was in the way. Well, we really don't need that. Let's see. What about, peace. That's something a lot of us pray for, right? We pray for peace. Yeah. Can you put that in your mind? We're praying, right? We're putting that in our affirmative. What's in the way? What? Oh, drama. Right? Too much drama, not enough room for peace, right? So we don't need the drama, right? Let's see. Oh, this is one of the most popular things that people pray for. Abundance. Right? We all say, oh, more abundance, right? You can't go wrong with that. Will that fit in your mind?
No.
No, what is in the way of abundance?
Some lack.
Lack. Darn it. See, Oh, and look at that. Look at that fit. So we have plenty of room for our health and our peace and our abundance and other things. If we get that other stuff out of the way. Thank you. You gonna take your mind with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't lose it.
So if we are praying for peace, we have to be peaceful. This is from May Rowland. If you're praying for divine order, be orderly. Remember that prayer changes you. Prayer changes you. It brings you to a place where you're working with your prayer for right fulfillment. You are responsible for at least half the answer to your prayer. That's from May Rowland. That's not me. Though I agree. You are responsible for at least half the answer to your prayer. And it's for another perspective, Albert Einstein is often quoted as saying, the significant problems of our time cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created them. Some of you probably heard that quote. So, and we understand that. We agree, okay, well, if we have thinking about the issues of the world, why would we think that that is not true also for us in our own lives? We have to take out whatever it is that is in there before we can put the stuff we need in. In Matthew 9:16 and 17, we read, no one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth to an old cloak, for the patch pulls away from the cloak, and a worse tear is made. Neither is new wine put in old wineskins, otherwise the skins burst, and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put in fresh wineskins, and both are preserved. Now, a similar passage is in Mark and Luke, and the whole chapter, in all three of those, the chapters talk about the idea of change being part of the process and needing to be new, become new, for the change to really happen. So how do we change or get a new thought? Well, first we have to have a clear idea, like Myrtle did, that she does not inherit sickness. But just having it once does not complete the job. You know, we have to clean out. That's why we use our affirmations and denials, right? So we say, you know, whatever it is, I don't believe in lack. Lack is not who I am. Lack is not permanent, and it's an illusion. Ditch it. I'm abundant. And put the energy on the thing that you know is true, the thing that you want to have. And the process is unfortunately not quite as simple as just taking one box out and putting one box in. Often there's like Velcro on the bottom that holds those suckers in there really good. And you gotta like do some yanking. But always put the energy on the affirmation, not on the denial. The denial is just a clear statement of fact. This is the way it is, just the facts, ma'am. And then put some energy on those affirmations, and that's how we got to clean those things out of the tub of our minds. And another important tool for cleaning out that clutter that gets in the way of us having the best life is forgiveness. In her book, Effectual Prayer, Frances Folks writes, if any one person feels ill toward another, holds any unforgiveness in his heart, no matter how great seems the cause for offense, he should cleanse his heart with a God bless you, I love you, and forgive you. She continues by saying to repeat this blessing until it's not just words on your lips, but a feeling in your hearts. That sometimes might take some time as well. And that's okay. Robert Brummett, you remember who wrote the book we did in the fall, Finding Yourself in Transition? He said in class one day, and I even wrote it down, whoa. He said, forgiveness is letting go of what separates us from the source. The source meaning God, Spirit, whatever name you want to use. And this is why we pray, is to remember that we are not separate. Because if we knew for sure, if we knew that we were God all the time and didn't believe in separation at all, we would never have to deal with a demonstration like we had, because we wouldn't believe in all that stuff, ever, because those are not part of the truth of who we are. But all too often in the history of humans, we have behaved as if some kind of begging will get us, has to happen to get what we want from God. Now, it wasn't really that long ago, right, that humans did not understand the reason behind earthquakes or eclipses or weather, etc., etc., etc. We didn't understand scientifically how all of that worked. And so our ancestors thought that they did something wrong, or that if they did certain things, they would fix, appease, etc. Now, this version of God, or the gods, whichever, depending on where you are, was fickle and easily swayed and very inconsistent. But it made sense with the evidence that was available at the time. Now, our new thought understanding of God, that of source, of the one presence that is in everything and everywhere, that is not a personality that is sitting somewhere with a lightning bolt, right? But an omnipresence and omniscience. So what does prayer look like with this understanding of God's Spirit, if it's not a supplication? So I think Dr. Tom, my father-in-law, said it best, one of our eminent theologians on Unity. And he asks, is prayer real? If someone had been diagnosed with a terminal illness, can words heal the body? Does prayer overcome addictions, heal marriages, swing wide prison doors? Will prayer restore childlike innocence for world-weary individuals who have made too many harmful choices in their lives? Can prayer conquer poverty, find a job, and provide adequate housing? Is it reasonable to think prayer might end wars, overcome centuries of hostility, and establish world peace? Very good question. The answer to these questions, which is basically asking, can prayer really accomplish anything in the world, is a resounding yes and no. If, in quotes, accomplish anything means manipulating the cosmos to get a desired outcome, metaphysical Christianity must reply, no, prayer is not magic. But what if the question refers to affecting outcomes by centering in the presence and power of God? That kind of prayer might actually reverse downward trends in health or prosperity, clicking good choices into place which give the right response at the right time. If prayer operates by letting Spirit work in and through every circumstance, then the answer is a triumphant yes. I like that part. So this understanding of prayer is less about changing what is around us and more about changing what is within us. In class yesterday, we were talking about a crisis center that Marie had volunteered at. And often the people would say that even though they were in a new relationship or something, it was really pretty much the same thing but with different faces, different names, right? And one of the things this crisis center offered was martial arts classes. And I thought that this made perfect sense because martial arts teach confidence and to be more aware of your inner life and your situation. So once you had this training, this martial arts training, you would see the world differently. Just like in so many other different things we've done in our lives, right? Once we've had a new understanding of the world, we see the world differently. And all of a sudden, a relationship that made sense before doesn't anymore because we are changed. And it's not that we changed the outer circumstances or we made all the people who were a bad choice for us go away. We just don't see them anymore. They're still there. Just like the people and friends and things that were a good choice for us to be involved with were always there too. We just didn't see them. So the practice changes us, and that changes what we see. We see and interact the world as we are. So when we spend our conscious time in meditation and prayer, we are breaking down the wall of illusion that we are separate, that we are unworthy, and acting more from the highest truth of our God nature. There are interesting and amazing things and adventures available all the time. All the time. We just don't always have eyes to see them. Whatever we believe about our possibilities, we're right. I mean, really, if you haven't seen this happen yet in your life, start looking up a little bit more. It's amazing what shows up. If we want more wonderful things to happen, we can't just pray and affirm the things we desire and spend the rest of our day groaning about why they aren't working. Because which one of those things is actually in the bucket of our minds? Why it's not working. Right? You gotta pull that. Maybe even stronger than Velcro, whatever's holding it in there. You know, maybe need some Goo Gone or something. So we have to step up and change the habits and do the work, and we're going to continue to affirm the presence and know the truth that we are that, and there's nothing separating us really, except for the illusion in our minds. James Dillett Freeman, who's a poet laureate of Unity, wrote, "We pray without ceasing when we habitually meet whatever comes to us with faith and with love, with a mind to draw from the event all that it has to give, with a willingness to do whatever has to be done to make the most and best of it." It's a lot of work. But this is the attitude that I strive to take into the world, to meet everything with faith and with love. This is the attitude that we practice and prepare for. Because when we do this, we see the possibilities of the world. Now, one of the easy and effective tools to rein in a mind that has followed the path of doom and gloom, because, come on, we've all been there at least once in our lives. We've fallen down the rabbit hole of all the stuff that's going to happen. Oh my gosh. So, if we fall down the rabbit hole, one of the ways to easily pull ourselves back up and out of that is with gratitude. There's so much to be grateful for when we take a step back and we're willing to see it. And if it's hard, you can start with being grateful for your finger. You know, if all of you hurts, there's got to be some of you that doesn't. Be grateful for that. Whatever it is, you know. Be grateful that you woke up this morning. Be grateful that your breath is moving in and out. You don't even have to think about it. How great is that? Your heart's beating. Don't have to think about that either. Digestion is happening. Don't have to think about that so much. Some great things going on. Okay, start wherever you're at. Work your way up. Eric Butterworth said, "It doesn't make any difference to God whether you give thanks or not. But it makes a lot of difference to you. Giving thanks is an important state of your consciousness that keeps you in awareness of oneness with divine flow. Keeps us present in this moment. Keeps us out of the drama or what's not working. Keeps us out of the things that we had in the bucket to begin with and into the things that we have in the bucket now." So what does prayer do? Prayer changes us. Prayer is the vehicle through which we clear out ideas that are holding us back and which we focus on the experience we wish to desire to come forth. Prayer is our conscious effort to break down the illusion that we are separate from God. Prayers are answered when we allow ourselves to be changed and become a part of the solution. Prayers are answered when we are willing to see beyond the first impression. And that's what prayer does. So,